Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder with RunBlogRun. We're on Socialing the Distance with Tianna Bartoletta. She is a three-time Olympic champion, and she is a four-time medalist in the World Championships. I've got to see her compete in all of her Olympic medals. I've got to see her compete in the World Championship, both indoor and out. The last time I got to interview her, I think was at a Prefontaine a few years ago. But Tianna, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you. It's great to see you. Good morning.
Now, where are you based out of?
I'm in the Bay Area in California.
Really? Because I'm in San Jose right now.
Oh.
I most of the time live in Madison, but my father passed a couple months ago. I came out when they let me fly again at the end of May, so I've been out here for a bit. But I didn't know you were.
Dad.
Well, thank you. Who are you being coached by at this time?
So it's me running the show in conjunction with my best friend, who is also the sprint and hurdle coach here at Cal. So
cool.
His name is Charles Ryan. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So now, is the Bay Area a new place for you, or have you been here for a while?
I got here in October.
Okay, cool. How do you like it so far?
I like it a lot better than Southern California, actually, because I did live in LA for a couple years back in the early part of my career. I didn't really enjoy that too much. But this has definitely got a different vibe, more my pace. I'm really enjoying it.
Good. How has your training changed in the pandemic?
How has it changed?
Are you hearing me okay?
It broke up a little bit. I don't know if it's my signal or not.
Okay. So what I was asking was, now that we're in the COVID pandemic, has your training changed? Are you able to get out and train every day?
So by and large, my training has not actually changed because this area is so full of tracks. And I already was the kind of athlete that had a lot of her own stuff. I have a lot of my own gadgets. So it really was a matter of which track is going to be open today and making sure that we allowed for the time to travel through the entire area to find a track that would be open. The thing that was impacted the most was the lifting, the weight room access. And Nike really stepped up and helped me build my garage gym. And so now that even that is back on track. So it's not really been disruptive, but I have to have way more flexibility than I otherwise would have.
Here's the first deep question of the interview. Are you a sprinter who long jumps or a long jumper who sprints?
I'm never ready for this question. I think I'm a sprinter who long jumps, mostly because in my view of myself as a jumper, there are so many things that I don't do. There's so many technical things that I have in the past gotten away with not doing because I was fast. So as soon as I lose that edge of speed, I'm no longer what I believe to be a world-class jumper. And so I have to probably answer with I'm a sprinter who jumps.
In 2005 was the first time many of us saw you compete, and you won the gold medal in the World Championships in 2005. What do you remember from that experience?
I remember being the underdog, nobody knowing who I was, nobody believing that I even had a chance, and nobody being worried about me at all. That is both an infuriating position and a freeing position to be in because nobody cares. And I remember just wanting to go out there and prove something to myself and my coaches and even my parents, who didn't feel the need to spend any money to come to Finland because why? That's a long trip for somebody who's not going to make a final, right? So I remember that clearly. I remember the weather being poor, but I remember not caring because I'm from Ohio and we can have 4 seasons in one outdoor track meet. And so I felt very prepared for that moment.
You had pretty good competitions, and that was in 2012. Remember from 2012.
Can you repeat the question? I don't know if it's my signal that's bad.
Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm trying to figure that out too.
I usually get a little sign that says.
So you're unstable or something.
It doesn't say that over here.
Okay, it did. It did on mine. Now it's back to being okay.
Okay.
We were talking about 2005. You won the gold medal, and you had. It wasn't until 2012 again, and then you were just boom. You medaled at the World Indoors in Istanbul. I remember seeing that at the 60, and I thought you were amazing. And you had that speed back, obviously. And then in the Olympics, you were fourth in the 100, gold in the 4x1, and the long jump. And then you medaled in the long jump. The 4x1 was an iconic. Were you guys so on then?
Oh man,
because it was like a perfect race.
Yeah, it was as close to perfect as Team USA has ever been. And it started at pin relays earlier in the season because we were essentially the same quartet that we got to kind of grow up together, which is unusual for a Team USA relay team because we never know who's going to make the team. And so we were able to build on the chemistry that we had naturally between each other at pin relays and carry that all the way through. So that really helped. It also really helped that John Drummond was a relay coach at the time, and he did a really good job of identifying each of our strengths, what we were good at, and really letting us shine in that instead of forcing us into some previously contrived template for what he thought would happen. And there was a whole lot of like sit back, observe, and wait and see that he did that allowed us the most organic relay team to come together.
Okay. You won gold in the World Championships in 2015, and you took the bronze in 17. In Rio, that long jump was insane. And it was... I always thought you were an emotional jumper in that, like, you and Brittany Reese have this fascinating combination of competing and bringing things out in each other. And I just don't think the long jump sometimes gets the respect that it needs. But tell us about the long jump in 2016.
Yeah, the long jump, I think, can best be described, if you're paying attention, as a soap opera. There are so many stories, there's so many different types of jumpers, and so many different paths to that moment. And so you are correct in that I am an emotional jumper, in that I can find a way to be fueled by anything that happens in the long jump competition. When I saw Brittany take her jump and then say, "This is my runway," it made me so mad that I found and tapped into another level. I was like, did she say what I think she said? And then when I got on the runway, I harnessed all of that anger and like, oh, the audacity, and just buckled down on executing what I do well. Because obviously I can't get on the runway and say, okay, now I need to go jump 720. That's not how you get your best jumps out. But I did get on the runway and say, okay, now I have to run even faster. Now I have to drive this knee even higher because this is not her runway. And we both do that really, really well. And that event was very dramatic. And even though I was not in the moment aware of the lead changes, I could feel the energy changing, and I could feel when the crowd was feeling tense because somebody just did a big jump. One of the things you'll notice if you're paying attention to me when I'm not jumping is that my back is to a performance board, so I don't actually know who jumped what, because the truth is it doesn't matter, because it's not like I can dial some settings in my system and say, okay, now get out there and jump 2 centimeters farther than that last person. That's not how it works. And so I can feel the drama, but I don't actually know about all the ups and downs in the competition. So it really is about emotion and harnessing that energy to execute.
Okay. You have been a very articulate writer, social media person for some time. I've been touched by many of the things that you've said. And this is a real challenging time in our country. And I'd like you to talk about Black Lives Matter, if you're comfortable doing that, and what it means to you, and what it should mean to people like me, older white guy who's trying to respect people in this country. But for me to understand it, I want to understand where you're coming from. I want to respect that. And if you're okay with that, could you talk to us a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Black Lives Matter movement and organization has done a good job of creating an atmosphere that can't be ignored. But at the same time, just like any other organization, there are things that I can stand behind and things that I'm unsure about. But the takeaway for all of us is that the words Black lives absolutely do matter. Your life matters. Mexican lives matter. Like, all of these lives matter. And attention must be paid right now to the fact that here in our country, the racism is systemic, and that we have gone a long time not even noticing the ways in which we were oppressing people who look like me. And so I'm really grateful for this moment in history where people are willing to listen, where even you just asked me that question when maybe even just 2 years ago, it wouldn't even have come up in conversation, right? And so I'm really happy that we're in this position. And so I felt responsible, being as a writer and as an athlete and as a person that actually represents Team USA, to do what I say, drag us back to the light. It's like, if you're going to listen now, then it's my duty to speak up and to talk and to educate and to share what all of this means. I do want to say that it doesn't mean you have to post hashtags or donate specifically to that one organization. You don't even have to actually support that organization, but to not be supportive of the idea that Black Lives Matter is a problem. Like, you can believe that, you can believe in your heart that Black Lives Matter without needing to be on the front lines with the organization at their protest. So I really don't want people to feel like it's one or the other, because it's not. And it's never that simple. It's never that black and white. And so if we can all get our minds around the fact that everybody's life should matter, that equality shouldn't be a controversial stance, that we have very ingrained things in our country that don't even allow us equal opportunity. And if there's not equal opportunity, we don't stand a chance at a better outcome. That's what we need to be talking about. So it's not so much that you're going around with the BLM logos or the T-shirts or any of those things. It's like beneath that, this is what we need to be talking about and working on.
Okay, thank you. Another topic that I think I've seen you write about this. Do you believe you're treated different in the sport because you're a woman athlete?
I think so. When it comes to, just the whole contract negotiation, or what a meet director is willing to pay, or perhaps even the talking to a meet director about roommates, like, those things are handled differently. I think I do believe it's the same sort of thing that women in all types of businesses kind of feel. Like, the pay gap is still there, and just all of that. I think it's just, we're not excluded from things women go through everywhere else.
Okay. You did a very articulate column about the whereabouts issue, and Um, you put Christian Coleman's dilemma in a proper light. And now we have Deja Stevens, I believe, who's getting 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
Would you explain for our viewers what you as an athlete have to do with whereabouts and where you think it...
So every quarter, we are asked by USADA if you're an American athlete, and probably WADA or other organizations if you're an international athlete, to submit your whereabouts. It's basically a 3-month calendar, and you input your home address, you input, where you go to school, where you train, and your competition schedule. And if you qualify for a certain tier, like if you're a medalist or something, you additionally need to identify a 60-minute time slot where you will just always be. And most of us choose that home, and most of us choose 6 a.m. Like first thing in the morning, I'm going to be at home. You need to have this 60 minutes designated for every day of the current quarter. And the idea is that we know that we can get tested during that window. It's supposed to help us eliminate missed tests, because we know that we can be tested during that window at that location that we specified. Any other time, they can still come and drug test us, but when they come outside of that window, they have to call you, and you have a certain period of time to coordinate and get to them so that you can take your test. But in that 60-minute window, it's like we tell them that we're going to be there, and so we have to be there. And once that 60 minutes passes, you can go on with your day, and they'll have to call you if they arrive. And so that's what's required of us. Otherwise, if we miss 3 in any 12-month period, that's a 2-year ban. It's a rolling calendar, right? So it's not January 1 to December 31st. It's just 12 months. And it's only slightly annoying. It's just sit down and, do your updates. And if things should change, we have a system where I can literally text USADA and say, I'm going to be here this time on this date for an hour. That's it.
Okay. All right.
So it's just a matter of taking responsibility and just doing that one little thing so that you're free to go run at the Olympics.
Can you, so you had a change in it, like up on a Monday night, or Monday night, you wake up and you've got to do something Tuesday morning. Can you text them overnight and tell them that you're going to change for the next day? Or how much time do you have to do that?
Yeah, you can text them overnight. You can, and you typically get a confirmation text in return that says received. Okay. Now, if they still show up the next day, then your text and that confirmation text will protect you. You can also get online and do a quick update, and that can be sudden. So the thing is, even if they show up, if you have the paper trail, that's why there's this appeal process, right? If you can prove that you made the update before they ever showed up, it's okay. You did your part. I mean, I've had DCO who showed up. Yeah?
No, I'm listening.
Okay, I had a DCO who showed up at my house as I had just flown to Europe. She would drive to Alabama from Georgia, so it was a 2-hour drive. She did not check her updates before she left, and when she arrived, I said, "I'm not there. I'm traveling." And she said, "Did you update?" I said, "I absolutely updated." She checked her iPad. She was like, "Oh my God, I should have checked this before I left." And it wasn't a missed test because she didn't see it. So it happens. But when you do your part and you have the proof of it, you can get that removed or not be charged with the missed test at all.
Why are so many athletes getting popped right now for missed tests?
Laziness.
Okay. That's what I'm trying to be generous about it. I mean, my comment about Christian Coleman was, if he's having trouble with it, why isn't his management team on top of it? Someone should be on top of it and I just, some of the British athletes went absolutely crazy on it. Guy
Yeah, the
Green, with a couple
Gridstone,
others.
something like that.
It wasn't good. Dina Asher Smith, the British sprinter, did a column about racism that I thought was pretty good. She told us about going into a nice store wanting to buy a dress for an event. And she was told, well, that's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Like she couldn't afford it. It created a bit of a stir in the UK. And then Bianca Williams, a British sprinter, I just did a column, Driving While Black, where she was stopped with her boyfriend. They went from a Nissan to a Beamer. The boyfriend's been stopped 15 times, and I know out here one of Michael's associates, a young man from Trinidad, bought a used Beamer in the Bay Area, and I told him, "You're going to get stopped, man," and he got stopped 5 times. And each time he's showing he gets frustrated with it, and I had the same thing when I was coaching. I coached the relay team at Foothill College, and we went to a meet where they were the only African American kids there, and security guys followed them around the whole meet. They were furious, and they said, "Coach, what's going on?" I said, "They're following you because you're black." And we actually made a protest to the school at the time. I didn't know what else to do but to be honest with them.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think it's something that a lot of Americans just don't want to think about, I think the way you articulated the BLM movement was very good, so thank you. I'm going to give you the name of 5 athletes. I've been doing this for a little while, and you're allowed 3 words to describe them, okay?
Okay.
All right. Brittany Reese.
Beast, mentally tough, sweet.
Okay. Carmelita Jeter.
Intense, focused, fast.
Ivana Spanovich.
Feisty. Fierce competitor, resilient.
Okay. Allison Felix.
Perseverance personified.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Unshakable, focused.
Okay. Dina Asher Smith.
Incredible, a light, inspirational.
Where's your favorite place to compete in Europe?
I really love going to Hungary for the meat that I can't pronounce.
Oh, the July meat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, his son will love that. I'll make sure we get a clip on that.
Yes,
Make him very, very happy.
Yeah, I love that. I love it.
What do you like about that meet? The crowd?
The crowd is incredible. The meet director and all of the people who work hard to bring that meet together treat the athletes really, really well. The area where the hotel is just a walkable, peaceful place where you can go grab your coffee, you can go grab dinner. It's like, it just feels so good. It feels so good that I actually walk to the competition and I walk back from the competition. And it's just, sometimes I walk back to the hotel with the fans. It's just a really good feeling meet, and they treat us well. And it really shows up in the performance of athletes that we feel good and we're happy to be there.
Will you compete outdoors season?
Well, I would love to. And it's not exactly up to me. There's like the whole like, is there a travel ban? Do meet directors want to give me a shot? I competed at the Inspiration Games with Allison and Candice Hill on the relay, and it really just confirmed that I'm in a good place and I'm ready to roll. And I'm just, I'm here, ready and available for any opportunities that present themselves.
Well, could you compete in the long jump now? As well as the sprints?
Yes, both. I'm always training for both events.
I didn't get to there. Okay. What's your fitness level for the long jump right now?
I'm actually jumping from a half approach farther than I've jumped from my full approach in the last 2 seasons.
Wow. What do you think that's about? Have you done some changes in your training?
Well, we're really focused on actually making me a technically proficient jumper, where I was getting away with just being fast before.
Okay.
Also, I had sprained my ankle 2 years ago. It never healed because I had other underlying health issues that didn't allow my body to heal properly. All of that has been addressed. I've had the surgery, I've had the blood transfusion, I have the iron now, and I am healthy. I literally was just trying to jump while actively dying for the last 2 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I guess nutrition's a big thing for you. How do you describe your diet?
So it's low to no sugar. The reason I say it's not no sugars because I still eat fruit, and so that's natural sugars.
Sure.
I'm dairy free.
Okay.
I've cut almost all red meat out of my diet, and so I eat pescatarian mostly. Sure.
Yeah, I have to do that for my heart. So I started 3 years ago, and I do 85% vegetables and about 15% fish. I feel great, and I could see as an athlete it would make a huge difference for you.
Yeah, I feel so good. I recover better, and even as people are worried about who I'll become and how I'll compete as I age, it's just my body. If you take care of it, if you do what it asks you to do, and you listen and you do what's required, it'll serve you well. And that's kind of where I am right now.
Will we see you around till 2024?
No. I am not interested in hanging on that long, but none of my plans ever work out as stated, so we'll see.
Sure. I'm going to give you, we're down to our last about 6 minutes. So I'm going to give you a couple visualization things. You're in a room with high school girls young women who are interested in track and field. What would you tell them that you love about the sport?
I would tell them that in a time where a lot of things feel out of my control, track and field provides me the opportunity to control almost everything that I do. And that is so nice and such a change of pace from basically being in a world and in situations where things are happening to you. We happen to the track. And that is an empowering position to be in, especially as a teenage girl with everything going on in peer groups and relationships and all this stuff. Stepping onto a track is how I stepped into my personal power. It's how I understood that my dreams were valid. It's how I learned the importance of goals and visions. It got me to college. It got me stamps and 3 passports. And all on the strength of the effort that I was willing to put in. So all of this I created. And that is what I love about track and field. It is ultimately the most empowering sport.
What's the biggest lesson that you've learned as a long jumper?
To defy gravity, you have to be as strong as possible, as fearless as possible, and as light as possible. And what that means to me, like off the track, like the life lesson there is you got to be strong enough to, overcome the obstacles that you face. You have to be fearless enough to generate the momentum to tackle it head on. And you have to be light enough, which means drop all those unnecessary burdens and that baggage so that when it's time to get off the ground, you can fly.
What is the biggest mistake you made as a sprinter?
Not believing I was a sprinter. Okay. Because that little seed of disbelief is a millisecond or some unit of time that you can't get back. You can't see it and you can't train it away, but that little seed of doubt is costing you.
What needs to happen for the perfect 4x1?
You gotta have the perfect ran in
2012. Just so you know, yes.
You gotta have a perfect first leg.
Okay, all right. Tianna, thank you so much. Is there anything else you'd like to say this morning to our viewers, just about you, about the sport, kind of where you're at, what your hopes are for people?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for the work that you're doing, and to also thank your audience, because tuning into stuff like this helps me know and understand that people care about the sport more than just every 4 years. And this is the kind of support that we need. And to just keep listening and encouraging athletes to tell their stories, because as we become more visible, we become more powerful. And so just thank you for the role that you and your audience are playing in that. And you will continue to see me grinding it out, working hard in the efforts to make this team and defend my Olympic title.
Well, I look forward to that. I hope to see you in Hungary next summer. And that'll be a meet that I'll put on my list.
Yes.
Tianna Bartoletta, thank you very much. This is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun, socialing the distance, and our featured athlete this week is Tianna Bartoletta. Tianna, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great day.
You too.
Thank you. Hey, sports fans, it's Larry Eder, RunBlogRun. And this is Socialing the Distance featuring Tianna Bartoletta. This is the epilogue. So I've known Tianna Bartoletta since she was Tianna Madison back in 2005 in Helsinki, when as an unknown, she won the long jump. And then she went 7 years without winning another medal. And then she had that fantastic Olympics in 2012, where she was fourth in the 100. She got gold in the 4x1. And then she did, in 2016, she came back and got LJ gold, 4x100 meter gold as well. But in London, that 4x1 may have been the most perfect 4x1 for women ever. I teased Tianna today and asked her, what is the key to running a great 4x1? And she said to have that perfect first leg, which she ran. What's interesting to me, too, is from 2005 to 2015, 10 years, it took between the first gold and the second gold in the long jump. She won gold in Beijing, and then she came back in this amazing long jump performance in Rio and took the gold there with her PB, 7.17 meters. Pretty amazing. What was interesting in the interview was how Tianna talked about how she keeps her back to the board that gives you updates on what everybody's jumps are, because that's not what it's about. It's about competing. She's an emotional jumper, but she's a sprinter who jumps. Over the last couple of years, she's really been working on her technique in the long jump. She's changed her diet. She's a pescatarian, a lot of fish. Took red meat out, dairy-free, low to no sugar. She does eat fruit. She has built a prodigious weight room, thanks to the folks at Nike who helped her out. But she says she's able to find tracks around the Bay Area, and she's enjoying it up here. And she wants to defend her gold medal in the next Olympics. I asked her if she'll be around to 2024, and she laughed and said no. I think that she's incredibly articulate. When you look at her breadth of competition in 2012, she was fourth in the 100 meters, took gold in the 4x1 in 2016, ninth in the 100, gold in the long jump, gold in the 4x1. In world championships, she's done gold in 2005 in the long jump, gold in 2015 in the long jump, and bronze in 2017. And she's also taken 2 medals in the 60 meters in 2014 and 2012 in the world indoors. Extremely talented athlete, extremely articulate. Her column on the whereabouts and her disappointment with Christian Coleman was just one of the many columns that she's blessed our sport with. And I asked her to talk about Black Lives Matter and about racism, the systemic racism in our sport and our culture. And she spoke about that very ably as well. I just found out from Mike that Tianna Bartoletta's Wi-Fi on her computer was probably the best connection we've had so far. And so I'm grateful about that as well. But I wanted to thank Mike and Deering for doing the production on all this. On July 14th, he turned an old 33. No, he's a very young 33. I do like that haircut he's got going now. I think it's kind of a lack of a haircut. But thanks to Michael and the Jews for keeping all this stuff going. And this is Larry Eder with RunBlogRun, signing off from Socialing the Distance with Tianna Bartoletta.